Hello, and good afternoon, true crime friends. Look at this. We're not up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We're in the afternoon. Quiet as it's kept. I just got out of bed, but don't tell nobody. And Bougie gang, I see y'all in the house with the little manicures in the chat. Thank you, and welcome. Listen, in case you don't know, Miss Francoise from Real Talk Bougie is the soundtrack to my day. If I'm not on trial, which makes it sound like I'm a lawyer, you know I'm just a gossip. If I'm not on trial in court, I am watching Miss Francoise. Such a fancy name from Real Talk Bougie. And I'm like, I don't care what she's talking about. I don't know who she's talking about. I just want to know because she got that TT and she's hilarious. So, in case you do not already know her, please put your hands together. Welcome to the stage, Francoise from Real Talk Bougie. Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, and she's from Jersey,
And she's from Jersey, North
by
Jersey,
way of North
too.
Carolina, now.
Yes,
But yeah.
yes. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Oh my God. How's it going?
Well,
Hey, everybody. Hey, Bougie Gang. Hey,
yeah, Bougie
is it
Gang
True
broke.
Crime Friends? Hey, True Crime Friends and Bougie Gang. How's everybody doing?
I love that we finally got our whole act together and got here. I've been meaning to have you on
Oh my
forever,
God.
but I'm like squirrel and get
I
distracted with
was
something else.
I was having a little FOMO because I was like, when do I get to come on, Kathy? I'm a true crime friend.
Oh my gosh. Well, please don't. I hope you were not offended that it took me so long. I'm just disorganized and
Girl.
discombobulated. That's all it is.
You know how in like the fifth grade or sixth grade, they tell you if you mind your business, you will be busy all the time. So I don't,
Mm.
as much as some of the business that pays me is minding other people's business, I do mind my own business. Believe me, I am not a bugaboo.
Well, you know
I'm
what's
not a
funny? I
bugaboo.
feel
Okay.
like I talk to you all day, every day, because when you're talking,
Oh,
I'm like, girl, that's right. And people at work are like, who are you talking to? And
that
I'm like, I'm just
happens to
talking to
me
friend.
too. That when I'm because I'm always listening in my ears.
Yep.
And it is weird. Sometimes you guys are like literally with me. There are people who I've, it's just, it almost feels like I've got company in the house. Yeah, it's
Yes.
weird. It is. It very
Yes.
much is. Hmm.
The way my brain works is I remember things better if I'm moving and busy and active. So there was one day I'm listening to you and I was over in the H Mart because I love the H Mart, the Asian grocery
Hmm.
store. And I was trying to pick out which curry I wanted. And then I was like, I'm a think on this curry. Let me go over to the tea aisle. And you were playing whatever you were playing. Later that day or the next day, you said, oh, did I play this before? And I thought to myself, and I might have said out loud, yeah, because when I was in the curry aisle, this is what I was listening to.
There are a few times on this internet that when there's been like a pivotal situation, there was a pivotal live that our good sis Nyla did.
Mhm.
Um, Thanksgiving 23. And
Okay.
I literally, it's like I remember because I was Thanksgiving food shopping and she was dropping major receipts and I just never forget it. I'm always like, remember the epic live you did? I was at the grocery store. I was looking for vegetables. Da 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 da.
Yep. Yep.
There's always those streams that
Yep.
that are just the ones that you just always remember that person for. And
Yeah,
or I mean
for
we
sure.
got to meet offline, which was great, on Route
Hmm.
17. Any Bergen
Yes.
County people, we were over on 17, um
At the
over by
Starbucks buying
Paramus
the Just
Park.
salad. Yes, yes. Did you
Yes.
stop in the Container Store when you're done?
Oh my
Absolutely.
God. That was really nice. When I come, we'll be there in the spring again. So I'm sure I will be hitting you up for our second coffee date. So maybe it'll just
I'm
become
this
like an
close.
annual Fran and Kathy's coffee.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm this close to buying a house in North Carolina based on the strength of you talk
Mm,
about North Carolina all the
I
time.
love
You ought to
North
see my real
Carolina.
estate listings. I'm like, this house looks nice. Oh, look at this. It has a little bit of yard, but I want a building. I want to walk in that door in the evening and somebody says, good evening, Mrs. Gossip, and welcomes me home. That's what I
Okay.
need.
But
Mhm.
things like that are very doable here. I mean, people buy old schoolhouses, they buy old buildings, they convert them
Oh,
into whatever they want to. Not necessarily just here, but there's a channel that I watch. I think I'm not sure where they are. I don't want to say a state, but they bought a old schoolhouse. So
they're in Indiana. I
10
know
or
the
12
channel. They're in
rooms, yeah,
Indiana.
and beautiful. I mean, everything is
Mm,
kind of a little oversized, but you know what I mean? I'm sure maybe it looks big for us, but maybe in the reality, it's just nice and large. But yeah, beautiful
mm-hmm.
renovation. Um, but
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Tell us how you got into true crime. I mean, look, Bougie Gang
Oh my
rolls deep,
God.
and I know they know, but some of the gossips might not know you that well. So, how did you get on
Ah.
the YouTube game into true crime and all of that stuff?
I'm gonna give that to my father. As far as into true crime, my father was a 1010 wins listener. Anyone in the New York
Oh,
area, you guys know 1010 wins is like round the clock, 24-hour news.
yep.
And my dad always had the news playing. So, what is the news? News is a lot of true crime because you're hearing about burglaries, mafia hits, bank robberies, all of those things. And I've been a news junkie since I was a little kid, and that's because
Really?
of my dad. Like he always watched the news, or he's listening to the news, and that's where I think I got my kind of news junkie. As far as YouTube, I started in the purse community doing luxury like unboxings and stuff. And that was how I
Really?
first got on YouTube because I thought I was going to be like a purse influencer because I love a good designer bag. And
Oh my God.
in my career, I would reward myself at bonus time because when you get the nice big bonuses, you can take yourself
Mm-hmm.
to a nice store and plunk down that cash. And it always felt good for
Yep.
me because it was like a trophy that I did a great job. I got an awesome bonus and I spent some of my money on me. So that was how I kind of got into YouTube because my hope was that I could build a channel one day that I could pay for purses through my YouTube channel, but that just didn't happen. I just
Right.
I love to shop, but I'm not a gratuitous consumer. I love to shop,
Mm-hmm.
but some of the shopping that takes place for influencers is just more than you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
too
it's too
much.
much. It's
So
too much.
it's it I don't want to have to deal with all that because you have to find place to put things.
Right.
You end up with a lot of stuff, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't like the way that was going. So, but yeah, I started doing commentary just on channels I was watching. One of the first times I went live because I was like, I want to hit the live button. So I was just kind of like, guys, did you watch YouTube last night? And my first live was just talking about what I watched on YouTube the night
Oh,
before.
wow.
And that pretty much was kind of the nexus of Love Lies and Lace Fronts because I was watching mommy content and I just started talking about some of the mommy channels I had been watching and I didn't really realize what I was doing. And next thing I knew, I realized like me making salmon and taking Farah to whatever Girl Scouts doesn't really mesh with me talking about these mommy channels. So maybe I need to start a new channel. So I started Love Lies and Lace Fronts. And Love Lies and Lace Fronts, when I did commentary, the way I differentiated with my commentary was I tried to use like a triple name because I always talked about three particular moms. So on this
Mm-hmm.
particular episode, I called it Love Lies and Lace Fronts because that's what it was about. It was about love, it was about lies, and it was about somebody and their wig. So I called it Love Lies and Lace Fronts. And I was thinking of a name for the channel, and I said, you know what? Love Lies and Lace Fronts. And
That's
that was really
hilarious.
where I started in commentary. And the commentary grew to wanting to talk about things outside of YouTube. And that's when I
Right.
started with Bougie because I thought it would be a little more pop culture and news, but the news kind of took
Mm-hmm.
over. So, that's
It's so
where much of
funny.
Bougie came from.
I found you on, I think I was watching Phone Calls from Prison when Shirley Strawberry, listen, Steve Harvey's
Mhm.
sidekick, Shirley Strawberry, the word came out that Miss Proper always has her pinkies out. Her husband was in jail. I was like, tell me
I
every
was in
single thing.
shock. Yeah,
I
I was
was
in
like,
shock.
And so I was watching Phone Calls from Prison air the phone calls from Ernest, who was in jail, Nesto, who was locked up. And I was like, this is the Nesto Shirley was in love with. This is the
Can you
Nesto that
believe
Shirley
it?
said all these wonderful things about. And Shirley is on the
Yes.
radio giving people advice. Meanwhile, her boo is over here locked up in the county jail. Tell me every single thing. And of course, Uncle Al, algorithm, started
Yes,
serving me up
absolutely.
all of these channels who were also talking about it. And people would do like a little bit on it and then, go to something else. And I was like, who is this? I think I saw you
Well,
first
who parked?
Real Talk Bougie. I was like, subscribe because I want to hear everything about Nesto. And then it just sort of turned into a bunch of other true crime and other stuff.
Mhm.
But your commentary was hilarious. And a lot of what I was thinking to myself, like, oh, girl, how you on the radio giving people advice? And wait, your husband is out here with a public mistress. He got a side
A
piece.
bold side piece.
Right? And then you were breaking down the side pieces, personal information. I was like, this is better than the soaps. I don't need my stories
Absolutely.
when I got Fran and Real Talk Bougie talking about somebody else's business.
I mean, I think like I love telling a story, but I do feel like some of my audience tunes in because I feel like I give a little bit of an unbiased opinion, even though definitely has opinion weaved through it. A
Yeah.
little life experience, like you said, a little life experience, a little recipe, a little, a little story time, because I feel
Yes.
like it makes stories more relatable. I think it's very easy to push away real life events because that doesn't have anything to do with me, or I
Right.
can't relate. I'm to this, I'm to that. A lot of what's going on in the world could really happen to any and all of us. Hey, Tanika, it could
Hey,
really happen to
Tanika.
all of us. So I think sometimes being able to share like, well, this happened or that happened, or girl, the time you got drunk in college. Now come on, that could happen to you, but you decided to do something else, or your mom told you different. I do like to kind of, I don't, not necessarily try to put people in that space and place, but
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like our conversation does make some things a little bit more relatable, or allow people to think more about the situation outside of just that could never happen to me. And maybe it
Right.
couldn't, maybe it won't, because I
Right.
think that's real. I
I
think
mean, personally, I
people,
hope to never marry a criminal. I mean, my husband is in the
absolutely,
kitchen right
girl,
now.
because you're already
I
married.
pray to the good Lord he's not committing secret crimes I don't know about. But there's not a Bentley over here that he stole from somebody that I look,
Right.
he's my husband is also a coastal elite. He also drives a Toyota Corolla. Oh, yes, we are a multi-Toyota Corolla
Okay.
family. And I
Okay.
hope nobody is
I
jealous.
used to
I
have a
have the cloth
Solara.
seats. Yeah, he has the leather. We're fancy. We keep our pinkies out. Cars
Okay.
are paid off
Yes.
and stuff. We got the good insurance.
Period.
Mhm.
Disposable income. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. We are regular people. And before I knew it, I mean, because my thing has always been true crime.
Hmm.
Mostly I started seeing people talk about true crime in a way that I think about true crime. And that is, I want to know what happened. I don't want to get too into the nitty gritty of like the terrible thing and the isn't it awful and blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, tell me what happened, but tell me who or what, who had a bad hairdo. And there was somebody had a mugshot and it looked like they had a raccoon on their head. The wig was so bad
Oh
and
my
nobody
God.
was mentioning it. And I was like, we're not gonna
Or
talk
we
about that
just,
wig on
yeah,
that
we're gonna
lady's
just
head.
gloss by. Like,
Yes, she's arrested. The most important thing is look at her hair. That's
okay.
what I wanted to talk about. Yeah.
Like when Karen Huger got arrested last month with the drunk, well, not last month, but last month, her body
The
cam.
videos came
And
out.
are we going to
Mhm.
just not talk about how her wig is sliding off her head? Like
Mhm.
she's the grande dame of Real Housewives,
Real
according to her.
Housewives.
And
Yes.
ma'am, why is your hair not adequately placed on that head?
Just
That's not
sliding
giving
back and
grande
sliding
dame.
back. The Grand Dame has gone all the way to the left. Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness. Wait, Umbadi I can't pronounce this name.
Bahati Kumba.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Greetings to two of my favorite. Love both of your unique and sassy perspectives. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'm just like I love a good wig slide. Look, if a wig falls all the way off, I'm here for it. That
Okay.
lawyer who looked like a
A trip
chicken,
and
I
fall. I
loved
love a
her.
good trip and fall.
Yes,
As long as
yes.
it's not me.
Right. Right, right. I'm as clumsy as they come. But you know what's not following me? A camera. So I can just be
Period.
clumsy and that's
Girl, or the
that.
sheriff.
Exactly.
I
So like,
wouldn't mind the
ma'am,
camera, but the sheriff, yeah, that's a no-no. No sheriffs, please.
no, 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 no. So on the topic of sheriffs, I have the Polk County Sheriff pulled up
Ooh,
because we are here to talk about
sir
Mr.
does not
Collin
play.
Griffiths.
Yes.
Oh, so look. I'm going to channel my inner Francoise today, and we're going to play a little bit of video, and then we're going to stop and talk about it. We're going to
Okay.
have commentary over the
Mhm.
video. So, in case you don't know, the state of what is this? Florida? What state is
Well,
this in? Oh
Florida,
yeah, Florida.
Florida, yes.
The
It's a
state of
beautiful
Florida
state.
versus yes, yes. Versus Collin Griffiths. Collin was recently acquitted of the unfortunate unaliving of his mama. He also unfortunately unalived his daddy not that long ago. And when he was arrested in the crime against his mother, the
Mhm.
sheriff did a little press conference. Please know this sheriff is doing the most at all times, apparently. And he doesn't stand up here and give like an unfiltered, unbiased opinion. Sheriff is of that gossip ilk, and he's gonna give you the good, even if it's a press conference.
Mhm. Yes.
So
I
I
love
was
him.
watching. Oh my
He's
God, he's the
amazing.
best. Hang on, let me add him to the screen. I don't know, I have everything on 2x, so let's drop it down for
Girl,
people who don't listen
it's
as
that
fast as
fast
I do.
listening. Yes, it's that fast
Yes.
listening.
Wish they had 3x, but they don't, so I'm gonna have to let it be. How to
Girl.
make this go away? Okay, let's see what the old sheriff has
We
to
got two
say.
items that we're going to go over. And
Love
the
him.
first one that I want to talk about is a murder, a cold-blooded murder of a 39-year-old mother by her 17-year-old son.
Mm.
He didn't say an accused murder. We're investigating a murder. We think it might be a murder. He said, we're going to talk about a murder. Like,
He
sir.
blood on the hands, in the place,
Mhm.
last to be with, all of the things. Like at the end of the day, yes, he
He's like,
did. Yeah.
I'm going to help you
Yeah.
decide. I'm going to help you decide.
And it's not just a singular murder, but as we got into the investigation, we found that about a year and a half, maybe a year and 8 months, 9 months earlier, he murdered his father in Oklahoma.
Mm.
So let me tell you about this. It all
Drop
started
that
on
T.
September the 8th, which was this last Sunday, when we got a 911 call from Collin Griffith, who's 17 years of age.
Dun,
And
dun,
here's what he said. He said he and
dun.
his mother had a very long.
Can you put the picture of a minor just up at the press conference? I
Well,
thought
he's gonna
they
be
trusted
he's being
you.
charged as an adult, so it's okay.
Okay.
Yes, he's
Okay. Because
being
I was
charged
like,
as an
dang.
adult. Yeah, no, it's not a
Yikes.
juvie. They were
And
giving
she
him
fell on a knife
yes.
and killed herself. And she's bleeding from the neck. He didn't say she killed herself, said he's bleeding from the neck. So our
How
911
do you
operators
fall on
appropriately
your
were given
neck?
them instructions on how to do life-saving
Girl.
techniques. When the deputies arrived, he met the deputies outside, and he was calm, cool, collected, not upset, and he had blood on him.
Mm.
This sheriff has so much smoke for this boy, which rightly so, rightly so. But I'm just like, he's like, I'm not going to give you the unbiased. I'm going to give you
No,
the biased,
this is
and then
a
you can
yeah.
decide.
What we found
Period.
inside was this knife.
Ooh,
This knife is
I
12
got one of
inches
those.
long, and of the 12 inches, 8 inches of that
Who
is
makes
the blade.
that?
So he's saying that his
Our
mother fell
table?
on this knife. We started our investigation at that point. The next morning
Girl.
at the medical examiner's office and the autopsy, the medical examiner said it is not reasonable or plausible that she died the way that he said she did. Just didn't.
Now listen, obviously she didn't die the way he said it, but isn't this what the jury is supposed to decide, Mr. Ossifer? I'm asking for
Well,
myself.
so I would say he's getting that information because that's giving probable cause to give to the
Oh,
prosecutors, because you have to be able to ascertain, was there foul play? So even though they're
mm,
not prosecuting, they're making the determination, was there foul play? Because if there's foul play, then they're going to forward that to the prosecutors for them to have them further investigate. Because if they don't think it's foul play, then you know how
right,
sometimes there's no charges at the police level. They'll say, oh, no, this was an accident. This was this and the third.
right.
They do have to make some sort of a judgment call to
Mm-hmm.
decide whether they're going to push it to the prosecutor. So if it was up to the sheriff's department, they did have to get the reports, do their investigation, forward it to the prosecutor. Then the prosecutors will match up the allegations with the law to see if, do
Got
we
you.
actually have a prosecutable case? I am not
Right.
a lawyer, but this is just, you know what I mean? This is what we all kind of as people who are living in these counties and municipalities, things that we should know about how cases get to the courthouse. The law
Right.
enforcement will make the decision. From law enforcement, it goes to the prosecutors, and then it may get litigated, right?
Right, right. Look, I love this comment. Pamela H says Sheriff Grady isn't about that silent life.
No.
Sheriff Grady has failed shut up classes, and I'm here for it. He
Right,
is here for the
exactly.
shade and the tea. He serves his tea piping hot. Yes, Sheriff Grady, come through. Sheriff, you
just
talk a little
always-
slow though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna speed you up though. Hang
I
on.
just
There were
always
witnesses
know when I
outside
see
mobile
he's going to
home
press conference
actually
that we're
saw
going to get all
Mhm.
the
Collin
information.
drag his mother into the house by the hair on her head. Collin is about 6 foot and 160 pounds.
Wait, he dragged her by her hair?
Yes, they had a fight.
Okay.
They were outside, and they were having an argument. Let me not say fight. But they were having a argument that was steadily escalating. And he dragged her. He literally dragged her into the house, and somehow she, on her neck,
Stumbled and
got a
fell
6-inch
into a
blade.
knife.
Awful.
Uh-uh.
Mhm.
So an investigation started. This residence was at 77 Hewlett Drive, which is Auburndale, and it's called the Hamptons. It's a 55 and over community. And where it occurred was at Collin's grandmother's house. Collin's grandmother at the time was not there. She has another home in the Keys, and that's where she was.
She
But let me
fancy.
go through some details, because as we start to peel back the layer of this onion, we find out that this is not just a singular event with Collin stabbing his mother in the neck and ultimately killing her. Here's what we found.
You look
And follow
super
me as I read
murdery.
a timeline to you.
Mm-mm.
On February
Oh, the
23rd,
timeline.
I'm sorry, February 14th, 2023, on Valentine's Day in Lincoln County, Nebraska. Sorry, Lincoln County, Oklahoma. There's Lincoln County, Nebraska too. In Lincoln County, Oklahoma, Collin said that his dad pulled a knife on him, and he shot and killed his dad. That's right. His father was named Charles.
A
He
mess.
shot him once in the chest and once in the head, and he claimed self-defense. The
Oh,
Lincoln County
Valentine's
Sheriff's Office
Day.
and the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations charged Collin with murder in the first degree. They dropped the charges less than a month later. They said they could not disprove Collin's assertion of self-defense. So he was released. Well, when he was released in March of 23, just barely a month after the original murder of his father, he came to Charlotte County, Florida to live with his mother. And when he came to live with his mother, Catherine Griffith, who was 39, you would think things would be better. He would be really, really lucky that, hey, this was a self-defense and I'm here with mom. But 6 months later, guess what happened? He's Baker Acted. So it's September, and as he's getting out of the original Baker Act, he makes a
Clutching of
statement
the
that, well, I'll kill
pearls.
myself, or I'll kill my mother by shooting or stabbing her. Charlotte County re-Baker Acts him the same exact day. They keep him 3 more days.
Wait, he
So they
said
Baker
he was
acted
going to
him.
kill his mother?
Yes. You'll see. I know you've got some more clips that we're gonna his grandfather, baby. He put it in the air. He basically he manifested. Let's say it like that. Friends, I've also wondered how he could get by with the press conference, including names and mugshots. Yeah. The sheriff's Ms. E was saying, Fran, I've always wondered how he can get by with. So yeah, I mean, you can be accused. So I mean, but if the sheriff's department is bringing charges against you, I mean, I would think that they should have to feel that a crime was committed if they're
Right.
advancing it to the prosecutor's office.
Right.
If they're lukewarm about it, you know, then I would almost
If the
imagine the
prosecutor thinks
prosecutors would
they
be
can't.
too. So yeah.
Right. Right. If they feel like we
they
know what happened, but you got to prove it. Yeah.
right, they're delivering the case. So yeah. And the person's still
Oh,
innocent until proven guilty.
right.
Um
That's crazy. Daisy, please stop barking. Hang on.
so
Let's
he
get
was
the rest of
Baker
this.
acted.
Hmm.
Which you want to explain Baker Act or
That's a Florida thing, basically, like the 5150 in California, where they take you against your will and hold you for a couple days in the nervous hospital to get your
right.
brain all the way together.
We
But
don't
he was
think
Baker acted
you're
twice, they said.
so wasn't
That's
Sarah Boone Baker acted 3 times?
but he was Baker acted twice in the same day.
And he's 17.
He looks murdery. His face looks murdery. It's just a matter of time till he murks somebody else. Kath says he was Baker acted, but then he told the judge during the trial he had no mental health diagnosis and is not medicated. He might not be medicated. That don't mean he doesn't need to be medicated. Let's get the rest of this timeline, and then we're going to jump over to what the grandparents said.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're 2 months later. This is November 2023. Collin then is arrested for domestic violence on his mother. And the reason he battered his mother is because she was disciplining him and took his video game privileges away. So he beat up his mother. He pushed her to the ground.
Out.
Wait,
Get the
wait,
fuck out of my
wait,
house. Excuse
wait,
me. I'm
wait.
sorry. I said the F word. Get out my house.
Why you beat up your mama? How do you? I don't. This is some stuff I don't understand. He don't need the Golden Girls.
You need
He needs
actual Jesus.
Jesus. Actual Jesus. I'm telling you right now, I can't with these people.
Collin,
It's
we
too
are praying
much.
over you, sir. Cut the BS.
We need to cast
Leave
out
the
some devils.
put the knives down. Put the knives and the guns down, Collin. Collin,
who
we
is
see
he
you
gonna
in these
live
true
with?
crime streets.
Listen, I'm scared to say his name. What is it like when you was in slumber parties? If you said red rum or whatever in the mirror 3
Girl,
times. Oh no,
Candyman.
Bloody Mary, Candyman. Yes. Scared this Mama Luke gonna appear on my front yard. I'm gonna be like, baby, because
Girl,
we're from
I
the
still
South
won't
Bronx.
say
We're not playing.
Candyman. I'm not playing. I'm still won't say it
Scared
like
for
that.
life. Scared for life.
And
Hang
he stomped
on.
on her. The grandmother was
Stomped
there
his
and witnessed
mama.
this. Collin said it was self-defense. She made me do it. The grandmother said, no. Your mother did not provoke this at all. You simply were being
Pack
disciplined
your
and made
bags.
to give up your game because of failure to carry out what you should, empty the garbage, wash the dishes, whatever they gave him to do. He claims self-defense when he stomped his mama, but he went to jail anyway. 3 months later, 12th of February in 2024, he has an argument with his mother, and he runs away from Charlotte County and comes back to Auburndale to his grandmother's house. Now, his grandmother's not there. And we got involved in this on the 12th of February, and the mother said, and the grandmother said, hey, we don't feel safe with him around. So our deputies who found him up here as a missing person reported in Charlotte County turned him over to DCF. 2 days later, on the 14th of February, the anniversary of him killing his dad a year ago, he's reunited with his mother by DCF. Collin made the statement that I don't want to go home. I'll use any force necessary to avoid it, to include killing my mother. So that's the second time he threatened to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Yo.
Yes.
I knew like the broad strokes of this case, but the down and dirty details. Listen, if you don't want to come to my house, you don't have to come. You don't have to be here. Nope, stay. He's almost an adult. We can emancipate him. What do I need to sign? No way in this world.
Go ahead, get your little job. Once you start door dashing, get yourself a little job as a sacker at the grocery store, and you can be free.
Whatever it is.
If you don't like me, you do not have to stay here at all. You don't like me, baby, it's okay. Bye.
Look, I shipped one of mine off because he refused to drive his brother to school. I was like, oh no, that's enough for me. It's not gonna get you. You like these kids who are like, Mom, I hate you. Oh, for real. You can hate me over somebody else's house. You don't got to hate me over here.
No.
I'm paying heat and lights and internet. No, baby.
Girl, food.
Kill his mother.
Right?
2 weeks
full
later,
pantry.
Go home on the 14th. But about 2 weeks later, in March of 2024, they reunite Collin with his mother again. Everybody's calmed down. Now, in May of 2024, Collin graduated from an alternative high school in Charlotte County and began attending community college. Now let's advance 4 months later to September the 6th. Collin has an argument about home chores, and he flees from his mother's house again and comes up to his grandmother's house. Grandmother's not there. She's in the Keys. So then mom lets the event calm down, and she tells her son, hey, you need to come home. And she asks him to come home and face his responsibility. Collin says, I'm not coming back home. That was September the 7th. So
okay,
that was
bye.
Day on September 8th. Mom drives up here to Auburndale from Charlotte County. She arrives at 4 o'clock. At about 4:30, witnesses and neighbors see Collin and Mom arguing outside, and Collin grabs his mother by the hair and drags her into the house. Just about 2 hours later, that's when we receive a 911 call where Collin said, "I've had a very, very long fight with Mom, and she fell on a knife and she's bleeding from the neck." Our investigation clearly shows that circumstance did not occur like that. In fact, he used similar language when he made the 911 call, 18 or 20 months earlier, when he shot and killed his father. It's important to understand.
This is,
when you look at this, you see a kid.
The thing that concerns me is that he's gotten away with this in theory twice, because it's possible Oklahoma could bring charges back, but it's sad, or it's sad and concerning that someone at 17 has found what they think is the recipe to be able to beat the charges, or to have an explanation as to killing someone. Because the next argument he gets into, because the workplace is very stressful. The guy that you work with at Papa John's or at the call center or whatever, however it's going to go down, this has now early on become his remedy for dealing with situations, because he's 17 now. This happened, maybe he was just 17 or 16. And then almost 2 years ago, this guy from early on has used a oopsie daisy homicide or manslaughter. Like, people really are in danger. Not even, I mean, people, the obvious is, oh, he could be a sociopath. I mean, sometimes sociopaths live in the corners and the crevices and the bushes. This guy is out living out loud, being violent, aggressive, and then create scenarios where people who are susceptible to this type of narcissist now become gaslit and then are killed. And because he knows how to finesse this type of gaslighting excuse to make it almost seem like it's these people's fault. My father waved a knife at me, so I shot him. Or my father had a gun at me, so I stabbed him. My mother came to argue with me. She was the aggressor, and oops, she fell on a knife. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't understand this. I heard about his mother's profound mental illness. That's so sad. He looks super crazy to me. This face is the face you see in your nightmares. All of this right here,
girl. He's
the boogeyman.
He's definitely 6 feet tall too, baby. No.
Yeah, no. You were the other day talking about having a machete on hand, and I was dying. I was falling out. But how did Mama not have a machete? Because she's probably afraid he would use it on her.
$24 at Lowe's. I mean, I don't know. If you garden, you should have one anyway outside. It's a gardening tool, but it's a gardening tool that's helpful to have in the house.
Yeah, well, when we first bought our house, there was like a bunch of little tiny, those little trees, like a seed falls and the tree pops up. The way back of our yard had not been like any sort of landscaping in a long time. And these dudes came in when they were swinging machetes real hard.
Baby,
and
a machete gets the job done, okay?
I was like, okay, duly noted. Look, now you a machete influencer. I'm not mad about it.
Well, we had a snake in the house. I'm not going to bore you guys with the story, but we had a snake in the house over the summer. I was actually in here and I did a double take because I thought it was a dog toy on the floor, but it was moving. And I was like, oh my God. And it was very scary. And my husband came running in and he grabbed me. He gave me one of those Leonardo DiCaprio's, like, come on, like saving my life. And he grabbed me. I ran out. I was in this room, ran out into the living room, and I went, grabbed the machete, and was like, it was like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I'm like, here. And he grabs it. And then I hear, and he's like, give me something to wrap up the snake. And
just like that.
And
I'm canceling all my South Carolina, everything, North Carolina, everything. Like, I can't live where it's snakes. I can't do it. I can't do it. No, thank you. Mm-mm. 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 No, ma'am. No,
Someone's asking,
ma'am.
do I live where there's free range snakes? We back into a in the woods. Like my subdivision is like carved out of some woods. So we have deer back. We're in the county. We're not in the city. So yeah, we have there's snakes and deer and all kinds of critters.
Oh my God. Wait, Tanika says, my mom is a fan of a machete, honey. Who knew that there was so
Period.
many machete people?
Girl.
We all knew when to grab it and bring it to her.
Mm-hmm.
You need like a upstairs machete and a downstairs machete. I'm scared.
I'm gonna take a picture. I have a big planter. And I keep it by the door. And I just have it down in the dirt. I just keep it because if something were to, not that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm from Jersey. Okay. I'm born in Jersey, raised in Jersey.
Stay ready.
And I stay ready, right? If there was something in the backyard, a critter, something attacking my dogs, someone who's not supposed to be at a door, I need to not have to go find something. I just need to go get something, right? And if you're going to go get it, you need to know where it is. So if you have something strategically placed, that if somebody, you know what I mean, don't start none, won't be none, right? So the snake came calling and we were ready for it and we took it out. I probably, you know what I mean? I haven't touched it. You know, like it's there. It's a tool.
Wait, and didn't you have to clean the blood off the machete?
My husband took care of all that. He hosed it off, everything. Good. Yeah, he took care of it. Yeah.
Oh my God. Wait. KPT says my Jamaican neighbor cleaned out her bathtub caulk with a machete.
And I am West Indian. My parents are from Haiti, so I guess it could be a West Indian thing. Okay, it could be something like that. I don't know. So yeah.
Oh my God! Wait, I'm Jamaican, so machetes and daggers are my protection of choice. Can't that's not. Oh, somebody need to send Colin's grandmama a machete because no ma'am, you are not safe.
Grandma is you know, who do you think is it grandma next? Is it random coworker? Is it unknowing? I'm going to be honest with you. I wish everybody in his circle, like, the veil of protection over them, because this is all jokes aside, this is a very dangerous situation. But I really do fear for anyone in his proximity that you can't get him pissed off because he's violent and he's manipulative.
He needs better coping skills. Oh my God. Miss Lady said, I'm in Florida. We run across snakes and had a gator under the car. Child, I had a mediocre stroke.
Okay.
Nesto and it was Nesto who had the mediocre stroke, right?
Yes.
That was so funny. The phrases he comes up with when he referred to a musical as a singlical.
Wait, or as a problem, as a frandrew. It's a complete frandrew. I was like, what in the world?
Just make stuff up. He got a grade 0 education. It's so funny. Wait, I gotta take this Collin off my screen because I'm not ready for him. I'm not. Wait. Let me pull
Collin
up the
needs
grandmas.
to, you know, as mothers and grandmothers and parents out here, because I know you've got some guys in the true crime audience. They needed, he was mad because they hadn't ran him to the dermatologist. I mean, he needs a good visit with his dermatologist, and he might be hormonal. They might need to check his, the rage could be that he's overly hormonal. But I feel like the dragging of the hair is giving a particular rage, and I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but I do feel like people are in danger in his proximity.
For sure.
People are very much in danger.
For sure. It just I'm scared of the whole thing. I'm everything about him is scary, but he looks scary. You know what I mean? I hope that whoever dates him or attempts to date him is a true crime fan. He needs to be an incel. Nobody needs to be reproducing with this boy. Like the whole situation is dangerous, if you ask me. Wait, where's
It's
my
not giving good. And the barber
at
stop.
all? At all. I'm trying to find the other
Oh,
video
and
that I saved. One.
Tanika says he needs to
But
stop at the barber after the dermatologist.
for real.
He needs some tetracycline or some minocycline and a good round of retin-A. Give him some
Um,
retin-A or something.
he
Just, you
just
know,
he's deeply something is deeply wrong with that boy.
yeah.
Oh wait, no, that's the wrong video. Hang
A
on.
ticklish brain. Tanika says you need a ticklish brain emoji. The clutching the
Oh,
pearls is hilarious.
look, wait, where'd she go? I just made her and put her up here today. There she is. I have that one,
Period.
and then I have this
Okay.
one,
Yes.
but I like the one with the clear background on her. I'm like, and wait, here's the other one. Where's the other
You
one?
need all
Oh,
of
there she
Jesus.
is.
Okay. Yes. That T. You
Yes.
need actual Jesus, please.
Because sometimes it's an actual Jesus type situation.
Yes. Only Jesus can help you at this point.
Seriously. Hang on. Here is Grandma. Like I said, I know this story, but I don't know this story. I
Yeah.
followed it on the edges because it was too scary for me. Some of these things are just too scary for me, child. I'm a delicate flower. What are you
Well,
doing? My
it's
husband is over here
scary
destroying
for
the house.
parents. It's scary for us
Yes.
parents because
Right.
everyone, you know, you could be in a situation where you have an angry child
Right.
and you don't want
Right.
to be in a position. I mean, I can only I don't even want to go there, but I can only imagine how parents feel. Like for instance, Crumbley, okay? When your child goes and does something awful to other people,
Right.
but this is the
Right.
flip side of when your child comes and does something awful to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've all woken up in the middle of the night and it's like, excuse me, why are you standing over me? Like, hello? Um, I just needed some Tylenol. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank you. Thank you,
I'm gonna need
God.
you to back up.
Right.
Yeah.
But don't wake mommy up like that. Just knock on the, you know what I mean? Don't just stand over me now.
Something.
But that
Something.
is having a scary kid. I can like that is probably don't even want to know about that world, honestly. But you
But
know,
no,
it sounds like Collin was a scary kid
yeah. I have a girlfriend. I wouldn't call her a girlfriend. It's a girl I know
an
who has a
acquaintance.
child, an acquaintance. And
Yes.
she has one of those kids who has done so much stuff over so many years. And I'm like, he's one of them that something happens over there. I'm gonna be like, we all saw that coming. And he's been there in, I don't know what the equivalent in her state is of Baker Act, but he's been involuntarily committed
Help.
for short periods of time. And the hospital has said, oh, he needs greater care. He needs to be shipped off to this place or that place. And she's like, I don't want that for my baby.
Okay.
Girl, what? How about you get it for the rest of society? How about that?
Well,
If he
now that
unfortunately unalives that woman, I'm gonna be like, I seen that coming.
or
We all seen
someone
that coming.
else or someone else
Yep.
because we live in a time now. So not to shift to Crumbley, but let's just talk about Crumbley
Mm.
for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Crumbley was warned that her son was off the chain and that something was wrong. She ignored it. The school, she had a bad relationship with the school, or the school was kind of done with her non-compliance or
Yep.
non-partnership in the matter, and they
Mm-hmm.
trashed her to the sheriffs. And next thing you know, she's got charges. Like they basically their narrative too. So the appeal that's now going on is based off the fact that had they not had this negative discourse from the school system, maybe the
Right.
parents wouldn't have been brought up on charges. But if you are seen to be a parent who is not compliant, not
Right.
cooperative, not trying to partner with the school system, and your kid goes and hurts somebody, and they have
Mm-hmm.
advised you, and you have ignored, and they might create a situation where you will be held accountable because there are
Yep.
two parents in jail, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be, and maybe this is the case where they actually should be, because they were negligent in caring for their child to the point where he is out here taking out other people's kids, taking out other
Right.
people's dreams and hopes and their destiny and their future. I mean,
It's crazy. The whole situation is crazy.
mhm.
When I saw that Ethan Crumbley thing, I'm like, there's no way those parents didn't know. I mean, I guess they were willfully blind. They were like, oh, I would rather spend time with my horse and diddling other people's kibbles and bits and drinking than dealing with their son.
Well,
It's clear they did not want that child. They ignored that child from day one. Maybe he had a little organic mental illness or something going on, and they just poured gasoline on it. He said he was hearing voices and they gave him melatonin. Ma'am, sir. And the daddy is still mad. The lady just looks like a broken woman. Jennifer Crumbley looks a whole
a
mess.
mess.
But
Yeah.
the daddy is super mad. Like, sir, I'm gonna need you to have all of the seats, all of them. He's
Well,
ridiculous.
it's the example case to let people know if you are
Right.
not going to if you don't like if you're not going to get involved and there's issues, this is
Mhm.
what could happen to you. Just like if your kids are
Yeah.
truant. If your kids are truant, you are going to have a problem with the school system. I mean, it may
Yep.
be a day in jail, a couple nights in jail, but the repercussions of your child not completing high school, there are statistics that show if your kid fails out of high school, they are more likely to enter into the penal system. So which one do you
Absolutely.
want? Do you want like let's not play around with this education thing. They need to get at least this basic because it is not, they're not able to operate out here at even just the basic level without getting
Mhm.
these things done. If you don't make sure they get to school, you are impeding and you are impacting our community because your kid is going to have to resort to stealing because they're not going to know how to make money. And also
Absolutely.
at some jobs, you don't even have the credential to get a basic job because they want you to have an
Right. With no high
HSD,
school
right?
diploma. Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Apparently, Hazel's mom says the judge threw that out. There's no new trial for Jennifer Crumbley. I saw last weekend when I was putting up decals on my windows upstairs that I was listening to the lawyers argue the case back and forth, but I wasn't sure what happened. I'm happy to hear that they ultimately decided no new trial for her because she didn't deserve a new trial. It was crazy. Both the Crumbleys were a shame as parents. It was ridiculous.
girl, and her ridiculous lawyer,
Shanna
the
Smith.
judge. So we're talking about Crumley right
Oh,
now. If the
yes.
judge was like, "Oh, you want to play? You wanted some shenanigans?" Like it's the judge, I think, was kind of with the foolishness too. But again, she's the
Mm,
judge. She's the
right,
judge. So if you want to
right.
play, I'll play with you. You want to act like a fool, you know what I'm saying? Like I'll clown with you a little bit, but your client's still not going anywhere. I mean, she could still get an opportunity to argue again, possibly. I don't know how long you have between appeal filings, but
Hmm.
who knows? But yeah, I think it's a message. It's a message to the parents out here. You have got to
Yeah,
part if your kid has issues, you better partner with your school system because if they turn against you, they can make your life miserable. And I'm not saying that the Crumleys didn't have it coming to them.
for sure.
But had they been more active, more concerned, more in the game with handling the business of Ethan, I don't think that they
Hmm.
would be in jail because they were really not cooperative.
At
The
all.
school system gave their narrative and they ended up with charges.
And Banana Bandit says Crumley literally told his parents he was struggling and they bought him a weapon and ignored him. Like, yeah, hey, mom and dad, that's not how that's supposed to go. Listen, as a parent of many, many sons, we have 4 sons. I don't want nobody to tell me how to parent my kids, but I will open my ears for good advice. And ignoring my child who has mental illness, that's probably not going to be on the good advice list at all. It's crazy.
Yeah. So
Wait, Banana Bandit
Mhm.
also says, I say don't buy your kid one, right, referring to a weapon at all, even if they're mentally stable. Let them be. I mean, I understand that there are cultures in some areas where like shooting and hunting or whatever is part of what you do. That's great. But if your kid got a real ticklish brain, it's going to be a no. No, nope, 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 nope.
Well, since you mentioned that, not that we need to get it like because I know this is a deep topic, the Murdochs, okay?
Oh,
They were hunting boar on their property. They were hunting
right.
birds, boar, they had a big spread. and part of their, part of the culture, at least that they belong to down in South Carolina, revolved around hunting. So it wasn't out of the ordinary for the boys to have rifles and things like that. But and then they had the hunting room with all the guns and everything in it. I think responsible usage makes sense if
For
it makes
sure.
sense for your activities, if you guys are outdoorsmen, things like that. But yeah, back to Collin, I just think it was weird. And what about the people in the 55 and over community? I would be mad if I bought into a 55 and over, like, nice senior retirement community, and
Right.
someone's daughter is living there with her off the chain teenager. And so when they reported that the neighbors saw them fighting and that would be nowhere but the 55 and over community. They saw that. They were like, first of all, who are these whippersnappers? Does so-and-so have company over there? What's going on? And that gets noticed immediately at the 55 and over.
Because they got nothing. It's a whole community of curtain twitchers.
Nosy
Everybody is like,
neighbors. Yes, absolutely.
let me just see what's happening out here. And I think a lot of those communities, I have an aunt who lives in one, and a good friend of mine's mom lives in another one, where they have regulations like you can have guests and whatever, but you can't have a guest for more than a certain number of days. Like, I mean, a guest over, if you have an 80-year-old boyfriend, nobody's going to say anything, but you can't have a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old living with you for an extended period of time. I don't know how much time he spent with her, but
or even if, hey, my grandson's coming for the summer, maybe it's one of those, okay, her grandson's for the summer, but he's not living there. She's got, for the summer. Especially when you buy in. I think apartments are different, but if you're buying in and it's like a deed restriction that thou must be 55 and over, and we don't have full-time residents who are of a certain age, that makes sense.
Yeah, look, I am chomping at the bit to get my 55 and over. I want the discounts. I want the good housing with the pool without all the little kids and the tricycles in the street. Yes, please. I am all about that life. All about it.
I think if you're over 50, you can get your AARP.
Over 40, they start advertising to you. Girl, I remember at the AARP, and I wait every year to renew until they say, like, oh, you can get this free little whatever.
Girl, I have that good AARP Barclays card, okay? Like, I was like, okay, and all of the perks that come with it. Thank you very much. I enjoy that very much. Yes.
Like, old people come through. Wait, I have Collin's grandmother. Yes, seasoned.
Yes,
I like it. I like it.
Yes,
put my oil of old lady on to keep my skin nice and smooth, and I am good to go. Let me see. Collin's grandma. The state rests its case. Wait, let's see. I have not heard this at all.
Yes, okay.
Did you get remarried? Yes, I did. Who did you get remarried to? Inaki Markovich. Okay.
Oh, it's very
You might need
fast.
to slow this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one might be like 1.2, maybe 1.25.
Let's see what we got.
This was interesting.
And might need to spell that last name for the court.
MARKEBITCH.
Ms. Deppman, who are your children from your marriage to Robert Willantis?
John Paul Willantis, Kathy Willantis.
Is your volume all the way up, or maybe it's me?
Willantis Rooney.
Did you list them in ascending order of age, youngest to oldest?
There we go.
Yeah, okay. Do you have another child?
Can I just say something real quick?
Who is that?
So at the beginning of this, they go into like, okay, who are you? Who are your kids? I know it looks like I'm looking this way, but I like to look at your avatar. It's like, it's making me look weird. But anyway, at the beginning, they ask her, like, who are you? Who were you married to? Who did you get divorced from? So the family dynamic. So we missed like about a minute, if that's important to you to know. She's been married twice. She's got kids from both of her husband, and where Catherine, Collin's mother, fits in. So if you go back like to the beginning,
I'll back it up.
You'll hear they give that first minute or so is the a little bit that explains the family dynamic.
Okay, here we go.
Ms. Deppman, will you please introduce yourself to the jury and spell both your first and last name?
Susan Deppman. Susan is SUSAN. Deppman is DETHMAN.
Ms. Deppman, How are you related to Collin Griffith?
I'm his maternal grandmother.
So your daughter was Kathy Griffin?
Just me.
Griffith, sorry.
Just me.
Okay. So give the jury a little bit of an idea of who the other members of your family are. Who was Kathy's father?
Robert Volantis.
Were you married at some point to Robert Volantis?
Yes, we were married for 19 years.
When did you divorce?
We divorced in 1998.
After you divorced Robert Volantis, did you get remarried?
Yes, I did.
Who did you get remarried to?
Inaki Markovich.
Okay, and might need to spell that last name for the court.
Markevitch.
Ms. Stepman, who are your children from your marriage to Robert Volantis?
John Paul Volantis, Kathy Volantis Griffith, and Christy Volantis Rooney.
Did you list them in ascending order of age, youngest to oldest?
I've been youngest to oldest.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have another child?
Yes, I do.
Who is that?
Kevin Markovich.
And that's from your marriage to Mr. Markovich?
Yes.
Now, Kathy, obviously, Collin was Kathy's son. Did she have any other children?
Yes, she had an older son. He's still alive, Christopher Ray Griffith.
How old is he?
He is,
I like that she pointed out that he's still
Messy.
alive.
But did she? That's a reflection on Kathy's dead. Does she would mean Kathy is still in the here and now to me. Like if we're talking grammar, right? Does she have other children? Did she? Ma'am's just showing herself unapproved because at the end of the day, I mean, Kathy is gone. So for her to correct that woman, I felt was kind of like, why would duh. I caught that too. Like, why would you say, and he's still alive? We know we're here because she's dead.
Mm-hmm.
We're here because
This
she's
lady.
dead.
Yeah, she was 39. Kathy. Every time I watched this case and they were like, Kathy, I was like, oh, why are they talking about me in the past tense?
And look how cute she is. 39 years old. She looks like she's about 22. And she's
she
cute
looks
with a
very
smile.
young.
I feel bad for her. I feel bad for her that, you know what I mean? Because, as a mom, you've got hopes and dreams when you're carrying that little bundle of joy out the hospital. And for your own flesh and blood to turn on you like that, I mean, that's awful. I feel bad for.
How did I miss this? Hang on.
What?
It says mom was 13 when she had Collin's brother. What? Okay, so it was 13 when she had Collin's brother and 14 when she had him. Is that correct?
She's 39. She's 39, so that can't be right. She was 39 when she died.
And how old is he?
17.
Wait, look.
No, that doesn't.
39 minus 17 is 22. Okay.
And then
she was young, but she wasn't that young. I'm like, wait.
The one who's 24. The one who's 24 now.
Maybe she was 13 when she had the first baby. So she's 39 and the other boy is 24.
So maybe she was 16.
Yeah, like 15, 16. That's still really young. Really young. Oh my God.
So her mom, so let's put it into perspective. She was a teenage mom, right?
Yeah. 13.
She's 39.
First kid is crazy. Oh, I have a child who's 17. I can't even imagine him being a parent.
So I guess, I don't know if they touched on that. They said that she was severely mentally, that she had some mental challenges. I guess let's say it like that. I don't know what they were. Maybe, I mean, to me, early pregnancy like that, 13, maybe there were some other things going on in the midst with some other adults, obviously. I don't know.
Yikes.
There had to be something else was going on.
Seriously.
24.
I want to ask you a few questions.
It's like, where were you,
about,
Mom, when your daughter was
Robert
getting
Volantis,
pregnant
your
at 14? What was going on?
When you divorced in 1998, who got custody of your 3 children with him?
I did.
And since 1998, has Robert Volantis been a big part of your life?
No, except for the custody battles we went through.
What about, are you aware of his relationship with any of the 3 children that you had with him?
He didn't have a relationship once he was not granted custody of John Paul. He didn't want Kathy, considered Kathy to be damaged goods. He only sued for John Paul.
Okay, but what was
So
his
I
relationship
wonder-
like with his children after?
I wonder if her father thought she was damaged goods because she had been violated or something. You know what I mean? Like, why would
Yeah.
a father consider, unless there was some sort of family secret going on where maybe a
why did
brother,
mom-
uncle, something? Why did
mom slip that tea in? Like, mama, you could have left
she
that
does
alone.
this the whole testimony? She says
Oh
it
my
the like
God.
every, like, she's one of these who can't just answer the question. She's got to put like a little bit extra.
Oof, a little sauce. Listen, I'm here
Yes.
for the tea, but dang.
After the
Didn't have
divorce?
a relationship at all until Kathy divorced and she reached out to her dad.
When did Kathy divorce her husband and the father of Collin and Christopher?
2019, if I remember correctly. It was like December of 2019 when they filed. And I think it took a couple months for the divorce to actually take place.
Now, we saw pictures of Robert Wolantis on a trip with Kathy.
Yes.
Tell the jury about that trip, what you know about it.
So Kathy wanted to meet the biological Robert's mother, the biological grandmother, because Kathy had many medical problems. So she asked me, she said, Dad said he'll take me to California to meet his mom. They lived in Anaheim. The mom lived in Anaheim, California, but you'll have to pay for it. And I said, okay. I said, just please try not to do anything too expensive. And I'll see what points I can use for the hotels. And we'll fly over there. You guys don't need to rent a car. You can use your dad's car if it can make it to California. If not, then you better rent a car.
So, Ms. Stepman, did you in fact pay for Kathy to go on this trip with Robert Wolantis?
Yes. I paid for all the food, all the hotels, Disneyland, all of that.
And when was that trip?
That was before she got Collin back.
So before 2023,
Yes.
after 2019 though.
And after COVID was over with.
Okay.
So I believe it was 2022.
Are you aware
What's
of
kind
any
of
other
interesting-
trips like that Robert took
So-
with his other 2 children?
What the grandmother's mentioning here is that Kathy never knew her paternal grandmother. Like, she's
Mhm.
well into her 30s and she's wanting to go to California to go meet her dad's mother. That was kind
That's
of
what it
interesting,
sounds
right?
like.
Mhm.
What I don't understand is, okay, if you're a grown up and you want to go meet your grandparents or whatever, go, Godspeed, have fun. What they got to do with me? Why do I have to pay for it? As the parent,
Why
do
did
I
her
have to pay for it?
father say her mother had to, like, she's grown? Kathy was grown, but wasn't her dad more grown?
Mhm. I don't. Mm-mm. There's so many different levels of dysfunction involved with this one that it sort of blows my mind.
It's
I don't
very
understand.
complicated. Yeah, it's a very complex set of circumstances here, which is maybe why
sure.
the jury got confused. I think the jury, I would love to know what the jury thinks, but
Yes.
honestly, if I were a part of that jury, I wouldn't say a word, because if I even saw Collin
Mm,
at the mall, I would be concerned. Like, I wouldn't want to see
yeah.
him again ever. I wouldn't want him to know my name. I would not be showing
Yep.
my face.
Yep.
He seems like the type that you're going to turn on the lights at 10 o'clock at night and he's standing in the middle of your backyard. Like, fuck,
Oh,
girls, I'm sorry, my F-bombs. Like, no, I could not. I wouldn't have nothing to do with him. No.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's truly frightening, a truly frightening individual. I don't understand this family at all, but I think if you're immersed in this sort of dysfunction, like all you know is dysfunction. If you've been raised in crazy and all you know is crazy, maybe this didn't seem that bad to them, but it seems real bad to me. Like, is
This
that the
is
mailman?
really crazy. Yeah, so
Yeah,
Susan
like
Detman obviously has a couple of coins. What we're learning is she's got 2 houses, one in Boca. Wait,
yes,
one
yes.
in the Keys,
One in the
and
Keys,
one in somewhere else.
wherever they live now.
And
Yeah.
she pays for a lot of stuff.
Hand to hand.
Maybe she's one of these that keeps a financial grip on people through her coins. You know how there's
Oh,
always
that could
there's
be.
that one person who has a few extra
Mm-hmm.
coins and everybody dances around that person if
Yep.
if they're financially if they don't have their own coins, let's put it that way.
Yeah. I get that. But I don't. All of this makes me nervous. Just for this whole family, everything about it makes me nervous. I do not understand these people, but okay, I'm glad it's not me. In Florida, y'all in danger. I'm just letting you know because he got
Mhm.
out, right? He was acquitted.
Yeah,
He
he's
got let out.
probably at the gym right now. He's at the gym. He's probably on social media meeting a girl, probably trying to figure out what
Well,
to do with his life.
so wait, you
Um
down at the Publix, picking out a nice grapefruit or something, and you see Collin in the aisle. What do? I'm like taking my little cart and I'm doing a swift U-turn and I'm getting the heck out of there. That's crazy.
I'm gone. I'm gone, especially
Yeah.
if I have my daughter with me. Hell to the no. No.
Mm-mm.
Out of here.
Mm-mm. And
F out of
ladies,
here. Get
warn your
out of
kids.
here.
Warn your
You gotta be
daughters.
kidding. If you got a daughter that boy's age, baby, you better be monitoring and make sure Collin doesn't come up to your front porch at all ever. Cause
Right.
he is bad news.
Right. Nosy Rosie says, I think non-members are safe, but the moment you were in the same household and upset him, I think if you cut him off in traffic, if you reach for the same peach that he wants to reach for at
Right.
Publix, I don't,
If you piss
no,
him off at the job site, you know what I mean?
anything.
I think that he doesn't have good, like you said, he doesn't have coping mechanisms. And when you are
At
a
all.
teenager, your world really revolves around home. And
Yeah.
also because he was moving around, maybe he wasn't intimately, maybe he didn't have like a core group of friends. He could have been a loner. We don't know if he was a loner or charismatic. He doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
we don't really know, but I mean, he's 17. He could very well not have even had an intimate relationship yet with
Right.
whatever he's interested in. I'm just gonna put it like that.
Right.
That could actually, that's gonna create a whole nother complexity and dynamic to this whole thing when he experiences manhood, if he has not already. You know what I mean?
How's
And
that right? I
that's gonna be scary.
mean,
Wade
some other person
5.0.
of
Wade
right?
Wilson. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And he had a brand new car. I don't understand it. I don't
Mm-mm.
understand it. He would have had a bus pass, and I hope the bus system is bad and slow. Good. Let it take you some time to get someplace so you have time to think. No, sir. No, 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 no. I can't with these people. Wait, let's go back to the grandmother's testimony.
Susan.
Where
Okay,
she
No,
Susan.
they didn't really have communication with them.
All right. So I want to ask about Kathy's much a thing for Kathy.
Yes, we had a celebration of life right here at the funeral home in Lakeland.
Was she actually buried or was she cremated?
No, she was cremated. She had goes to her sister and brothers that she never wanted.
sound dropped out. What happened?
It's not you. Julie is going to come on from Court TV and say, "Hey guys, it's not you. It's us.
Gotcha.
It's the sound system in the courtroom."
Has that been done?
No, we're going to do that this summer.
Where are Kathy's ashes right now?
Right now, they're at Christie's house.
Was Robert Willantis invited to the celebration of life?
No, he was not.
Why not?
Robert tends to.
Okay, it's not your television, my friends, or your phone or your laptop, however you're watching this morning. It is the courtroom audio. It's courtroom audio. So why don't we do this? Why don't we take a break? Just wanted to make a quick connection. So on Friday, this is what's really interesting. On Friday, we saw Kathy's dad testifying for the state.
Oh, I was
really
going to say,
powerful
yeah.
witness, Robert Wallantes. You're hearing him talked about. This witness, Susan, Kathy's mother, was married to him, no longer together. And interestingly, she's a defense witness for her grandson, Collin. So much more is set to come. Stay right where you are. We'll take a break and go back in the courtroom together.
Okay. Oh,
You
wait.
could advance a little bit. Isn't it?
Hang on.
I love I love watching trials. Don't you? Are you into it, or do you like just the
Yes.
story of it all? Do you like seeing
like the whole
the
thing.
court situation play out?
I like the whole thing. I want to see everything. But you know what? I'm nosy and I want to know other people's business. Bottom line, I don't care what it is. Listen, a friend could call me and I'm like, okay, girl, what's going on? Oh, wait, your neighbors are having a fight. Hold the phone up to the wall. Let's hear together what's happening. You know what I'm saying? I'm just nosy and I own that.
I would say my first trial, like watching, I can remember when OJ, the OJ verdict came, and I was at Burger King getting lunch. I was at my good little after college job, my first little after college
Same.
employment. And I was at
Same.
Burger King, and I didn't know everybody, but people were seating. I was over there on not 46. I was I can't even remember. Somewhere near like Lodi.
Okay.
And because I worked in South Hackensack. I was working in South Hackensack, and I was at the Burger King, maybe on 46, on I think it was 46. Anyway, Jersey people always talk about highways and numbers. Okay. So
yes,
anyway,
that's over by the good Walmart near Teterboro Airport. I know which one you talk about exactly.
Right. I was over there back in the cut at Burger King, and the verdict came and everybody was like, oh my God. Like it was an outroar, not just an outcry. It was just audible. Everybody was talking. Oh my God, the verdict just came through. And I remember they had it on the TVs at work. Another trial I remember watching, like from gavel to gavel. I didn't know gavel to gavel back then, but from gavel to gavel, was the Ray Carruth trial, which happened here in Charlotte. And that was riveting. Like you couldn't go anywhere where people weren't talking about it, or that wasn't somebody's cousin, or their sister worked over there at the gentleman's club. Like it was everybody. It was a degree of separation from everyone to all parties involved.
Yes.
And I still, to this day, when I passed that Chick-fil-A, where they ditched the gun that they used to shoot Sharika Adams, like I never not go in that area and not think of her. Like I think of her every time, because they went to go see The Bone Collector at the movie theater. They were still building that shopping center where they have a Target and stuff today. And so it was all still very much under construction, and they ditched the weapon in the drains. And it was like, I never not think of her. I didn't know her,
crazy.
But I do. Her memory is with a lot of people, because that was probably where I also got some of my gavel to gavel, like enjoyment, like of kind of like interest in watching cases.
Yeah, that case, I don't even remember what year it was or anything about that, like that. But I remember that the hitman taking the stand.
Van Brett Watkins,
And I remember that they found Ray curled up in the trunk with like a bottle to pee in or whatever.
With the hairdresser, hairdresser that took him to Tennessee.
I'm not that good a friend. You can't curl up with a bottle to pee in my trunk. You can't do it. I'm not.
A mess.
But I don't enjoy road trips, so maybe that's part of it. But I was just like, that whole case was crazy. Their son has to be an adult by now, right?
He's in his 20s. He has cerebral palsy, and he's been raised by the grandmother. But and Ray Carruth is out of jail now. He's since been released. From what I did you know me, nosy. I did do some digging, maybe about 6 months ago, and I think
Mm-hmm.
he has changed his name, which I won't say what the name is, but he's changed his name. He's living under another identity, or he's
Yeah,
basically
probably a good
changed his name,
idea.
and I think he's in the Northeast. I'll just leave it like that, just so you know what I
Really?
mean.
Mm?
Girl, someone in the chat, girl, so we got,
Wait.
people know stuff in the chat, but yes. So yes. But let's, you know what I mean? Like, not to
Okay.
say that he deserves privacy or anything like that. Because he definitely did what he did. He's convicted of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I mean?
That whole thing was crazy, all over some child support. It was
Mhm.
unbelievable. The lengths to which some people will go to not pay child support is really next level for me.
Well, I think it was, to me, I'm gonna say, to not have a child. I don't even think
Yeah,
it was delivered as child support, but I just
right.
don't think he wanted her baby.
Yeah, I don't think
I
he
think
wanted
she was,
her. He didn't
yeah,
want her baby. He didn't want anything about it.
right. She was fun. They were having a good time. She got pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "Well, you got to go."
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
the way she heroically did they make a movie about that? I remember her like writing. She was on like life support or whatever, and they held paper up, and she had to they had her writing who she thought who shot her because she knew
Mhm.
immediately who had done it. Like the whole thing was terrible
Yeah, it was definitely, he definitely set her up. He definitely
for
set her up.
sure.
Um,
Here we
Christy
go,
saying the
Tanika with the
Anthony trial.
news.
Mhm.
He already had one child and was complaining about paying that baby mama. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
Well,
Yeah,
he
the Anthony
should
trial
have.
was ridiculous.
His mother was his, if I remember, to put his mother in context of a outgoing, gregarious mom of today, I would call her like the Carlissa, Blueface's mom. She's giving his mom, in the back of my mind, gives me Carlissa, Blueface's mom
Mm.
today. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
Someone who
mhm.
is like a fervent supporter of your son, that is up to the most shit. So that's Ray Caruth's mom had a excuse for everything, and you know what I mean? Like, there was no excuse
Ma'am.
for what he did. Yeah, she called
Yeah.
911. Luckily, I guess she called 911, but she ended up in someone's front yard, and the people came out, they saw her, they called 911 too. 911 came, and obviously it was some sort of a hit. And
Mm.
but yeah, the Casey Anthony, I didn't watch that gavel to gavel, but that was definitely, if you were if you were watching TV in the Nancy Grace era
Yes,
of court
yes,
TV
yes.
and all of the things, Nancy Grace was epic.
Oh,
Um,
Nancy Grace is really, really next level. I'm like, her energy is so, I mean, listen, and I'm a big energy person as well, but her energy is just like a little too much for me. I'm like, Nancy, dial it back, sis, dial it back.
she's been pretty consistent though the whole time. But
Yeah,
I do feel like if it wasn't for her, Casey Anthony could have even gotten swept even more under the rug. I mean, Casey Anthony did not. I think there's still questions about that, where else was the
right.
baby? Like, she lied from the beginning. In 2025, I don't think she would have gotten away with
Not at all.
her daughter's
Not at all.
disappearance. At that
Chrissy's
time, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. At the time that case happened, it's like some cases happen at the time that they're meant to, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah, Chrissy says, I don't know the trial y'all talking about before the Casey Anthony trial. That was the trial of football star Ray Carruth. What year was that?
Gosh,
It was
it
before
was,
Court TV.
well, no, Court TV was around because that was after OJ, but because
Oh, yes, yes,
Court
yes.
TV is like basically OG, their OG
They've
status.
come
But
and gone though. They've come and
well,
gone.
they were on
On various
cable.
cable systems. Yeah,
Yeah, they were on
yeah.
cable, and now I mean, I guess, I don't know if they're still on cable or not, but yeah, Ray
They're
Carruth
not on my cable.
um was a Carolina Panther, and he had just
Yeah.
gotten signed to a multi-million-dollar contract. He came to Charlotte and started helping himself to the beautiful Carolina women down here, and ended up getting one pregnant. And that was still at the time. Also, keep in mind the time that football players were still held to a standard. Now football players and basketball players can pretty much do what you want. But at that
Yeah.
time, they used to have them like not like you would think that there are a bunch of virgins running around. Because when Cam Newton started
Yeah.
doing his shenanigans of I'll have a baby here and I'll have a baby there and I'll have a baby there, it was controversial, but there was really nothing that they could do. He was doing his job. He wasn't doing anything illegal. They just had to deal with the
Right.
fact that this guy was doing what he wanted to do. But yeah, 1999 is about right. Yeah.
Yeah, Ray Carruth was like a big muckety muck, and people were like, "Oh, he's supposed to be a role model. He's supposed to be a role model." And then his girlfriend gets unfortunately unalived in a drive-by. Apparently, he had taken her out to the movies, and then said, "Oh, let's take separate cars." And I don't remember, one was driving. Maybe he was driving in front, and she was driving behind. And he went on some off out of the way path. He slowed down so that her car behind him had to slow down, and some dudes pulled up beside her, fired into her car, and then he sped off and acted like he didn't have anything to do with it. When she actually survived initially the shooting, she was pregnant, that she called 911. They take her to the hospital, they deliver the baby prematurely, and then he was like, "Who, me?" And to hide out, he had a friend who was a hairdresser put him in the trunk of her car and drive to another state, and they caught him all curled up in the fetal position in the trunk of her car with a bottle for him to pee in and like some Snickers and other snacks and stuff. The whole case was crazy.
They
But yeah,
really did that. I
1999 sounds
commend
right.
them for because this is before all of the GPS. This is before, a lot of our, really good. I mean, you can't do anything now. Like if you're
Yeah.
out here committing crime, everything is track and traceable. But 25 years ago,
Right.
we were in the birth of a lot of the technology that we have now. It wasn't as
Mhm.
accurate, it wasn't as robust. And for them to, just good old fashioned police work and people paying attention and all of
Yeah.
that. So but
And
yeah,
the hitman in the Ray Carruth case was this big, giant dude. I was scared just looking at him. I was like, "Oh, what is he talking
he was
about?"
like,
And he got,
if you know who Suge Knight is, he was kind of
yes,
like a Suge Knight
yes.
doppelganger.
And he got on the stand and he was like, in the jail chains in the orange jumpsuit doing the shackle shuffling
Oh
in
my
there. Like,
God. Oh
oh
my
my,
goodness.
he was like, "Yeah. Oh, no, 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 no." It's like scared just sitting in my house watching this dude on the TV. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mocha Wine
Yep.
saying CCTV, license plate readers. Yeah. I mean, there's really nothing
Out
now.
here getting
Even
caught 100 different ways. Yeah.
the guy in Vegas who tried to put on the landscaping outfit to get away with killing the reporter, and
The
he was
Kitten Hill
caught
Killer.
on all kinds
Yes.
of his walk was unmistakable.
Tellis.
Yeah,
Robert
Robert
Tellis.
Tellis, yes.
Because he was embarrassed about being short, so he had lifts in his shoes, and so when he walked, he had like this weird little walk, and he looked like he was walking in kitten heels. So I called him the Kitten Hill Killer. Yeah, he was crazy.
That was
My,
his testimony was the best.
oh my God.
That particular trial, I was shopping in H&M, I think. Maybe it was the beginning of the school year or something. We were back to school shopping, and I was listening to his testimony and just
Uh-huh.
listening to him mess up. When he was doing his little narrative situation. That thing was so funny. Oh my God.
Oh my God. He was so funny because he was like, "Okay, I'm clearly smarter than everybody here. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to tell the story." And his lawyer was like, "Would you like to testify in the narrative?" Or said, "My client is going to testify in the narrative," which is code for, "I know this sucker's going to get up here and tell a whole mouthful of lies, and I can't be a part of that. So I'm just going to let him say what he says, and then the state can cross-examine him." And you could tell he tried real hard. He was like, "Okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to look nonchalant." And he sat there like this the whole time, like he was in a glamour shot. I
I'm
was
going to try
watching
not to
that
be
live
triggered.
stream. Right. He was just like, and because he had tried to unalive himself at one point, he couldn't have anything like pointy or sharp. So they gave him like this big crayon and a piece of paper to write with.
How
Oh my God,
embarrassing.
it was
Let me just say
crazy.
one thing about Robert Tellis. And
Yes.
no offense to the people that worked in his office, but the people that worked in the office,
Oh my God.
They were feeling guilty because they felt like they got the reporter unalive because
Right.
they, you know, and I'm not going to go that far with it. I'm not going to subscribe to it was their fault, but at the end of the
Right. It
day,
wasn't.
like they were way too dialed in. They were
Mm-hmm.
a little
They
too
were,
dialed in. That's
yeah.
just my opinion. And I don't feel like they're responsible and they did what they were supposed to do and all of those things. But I do feel like they were a little too dialed in. And I know working for being a civil servant, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a lot. I'm trying to
They
find
were
the
very much dialed
picture.
in. Hmm.
I'm trying to find the picture, the glamour shot that Brandy did. Oh, wait.
Of Bob
Here he
Tellis.
is. Yes. Hang on. How do I make this bigger? Here we go. Because he also had let's see if you can see this.
Oh my
You see
God.
he always had his hand on his chin, and he always looked upset and mad. People called him Tweety Bird. People had a million names for this man.
But
And so I was
but
like, he
he
got
was
resting
getting
state
sex. He
face.
had a wife and a mistress. Is this not the
Yep.
weirdest thing? That's why I always try to tell people don't ever feel discouraged about not
Yeah.
finding a boo thing. A boo thing is out there for you because Bob Tellis had a wife and a girlfriend. Like there are people out here that get as
Oh
much
my
of
God.
everything that they want. And nobody out here
Yep.
should ever feel like you can't get what you want out here because this man was like, it's ridiculous. He had a wife
The
and a girlfriend. What?
for those for people who didn't follow the case, so Bob Tellis was kind of a nobody, and he was just like, I want to get to be like the governor or some big muckety muck, but I'm going to start with getting a low level like civil servant job, right? So he was
And he was an
I think he was
attorney.
right, he was
He
an
was an attorney, but he
attorney,
wanted to be a powerful attorney. He wanted to be, yeah,
right. And so he went and got a job in the something with estates. Like if you die and you don't have a will or
like
whatever, all of your stuff, the state will take care of it. There's a department that takes care of it. I forget what that department is
it's like
called. Like
probate.
well, probate is the court process, but it's like the estate administration department in Clark County, something like that. And they are the ones who do the safekeeping. They go in your house and they say, okay, we're going to take all the jewelry out and we're going to keep it safe. If there's money, we're going to keep it safe. And then we're going to pass everything out to all the people who, we'll find the family members and then pass the things out. But also, if you had a house that needs to be sold, this department would find the real estate agency, get the house fixed up, get the house put on the market so that the family members can get the most amount of money. All the people in this office have been there for like 20 some odd years. And then every few years, a new person would run for whatever this position is and they'd get a new boss. Their old boss retired and Robert Tellis came in and he was like, I'm changing things around here. Civil service were like, what? We've been doing the same things for 100 years. How do you come in here trying to change things? Meanwhile, he was having an affair with one of the girls at the office. So the ladies in the office got mad and set up like a 3-woman detective agency and were following Robert and this coworker around and recorded them on their video on their phones, getting out of the backseat of the car, fixing clothes and stuff, and gave that videotape that proved Robert Tellis was having an affair with a coworker to the local newspaper. The local newspaper ran a story like scandal down at this office that nobody has ever heard of. And so Robert was upset that this newspaper man is messing up his good thing. And so he ultimately killed the newspaper guy. The people in the office was like, wait, we was just trying to be nosy and messy. We didn't know he was going to get out here and unfortunately unalive this man. And Robert was like, it was not me. I don't know why you would think it was me. And he decided to defend himself. It was a whole mess. And
Yeah,
he
I
got
mean,
ultimately got convicted.
I'm going to just say this. I can see why they feel guilty because some of the things
Yeah.
that they did started the ball rolling. Obviously,
Yes.
they had no idea that Bob Tellis would do what he did. But I
sure.
guess let's just say from this standpoint, from the reality check of, was I mad because he was screwing one of my coworkers and I felt like she's going to get more favor than me? Or am I really
Mhm.
mad at his policies and things that he's doing in the office? Like, am I really concerned about Clark County in Las Vegas? Am I more
Right.
concerned because there's that there could be some situation going on that maybe needs to be run to HR? Like, why didn't they ever run that to HR? I missed that part when they questioned them.
They
Why
did.
didn't you ever? What happened with the investigation?
They did run it to HR, and HR said he's an elected official. So there's certain things like he wasn't
That as an
breaking
elected
any.
official, they couldn't do
They were
anything because
very
of him.
limited as to what they could do. Yeah, absolutely. And
Hmm.
so they tried sort of through all the regular channels, they tried everything they could. And when that wasn't working, he was just like, of course, he finds out that they're running back and forth to him. He was mean, he was overbearing, he was a micromanager. So he made it his business. The people who reported on him, he made it his business to make their lives miserable. They were getting
And
overtime. He was cutting overtime. He was a menace in the office.
right.
And they were
And
like,
to Tanika's point,
okay,
he did lose his reelection. So he
he
was
did
on
you.
his way out. He was on
Yes.
his way out.
Yes.
And now
Yes.
he's got a life sentence, right?
Yeah, I think he was sentenced to life. Mocha Wine, this case had me in my feelings. She says, how do y'all feel about the forgetful grandma, Tracy Nix, being found not guilty? Well, she was found not guilty of one thing, but guilty of another. That wasn't the first grandchild that died under her watch. The first one drowned, and she left one in a hot car. Do you know that case, Fran? Are you familiar with Tracy Nix?
No, I don't know.
Tracy Nix was on trial for the negligence death of one of her grandchildren, and she was very upset. Like, why would they have me on trial? And then the truth came out that two grandchildren. She had a grandson that died while she was watching him. The child that she was on trial for was the second grandchild that died while she was watching the kids. Um,
Mm.
how in the world that mama was like, yeah, we're gonna let her watch the second one after she was she was responsible and she wasn't responsible for the first one. The mother, Tracy Nix, the grandma, had some sort of mental issue. Like, she had a very bad memory related to
Mhm.
her medication, her health, whatever. But the situation was so bad that she had lost her job she had been a
Ooh.
school principal for many years.
Okay.
And she and her husband, she's, got some grown children. She has several grandchildren. Oh, yes, she was also a drunk.
Wow. Also,
She,
let's not forget she's a drunk now.
right? The chat knows all. She was a drunk. She had gone home, and it was her husband, and this grandbaby. I forget the first grandbaby's name. The grandma and the baby took a nap. The
Mhm.
grandpa was like, hey, I'm gonna run out and run some errands. It's
Mhm.
unclear whether or not grandma was fully awake, partially awake, whatever. The grandbaby was taking a nap, but he was not in a crib. He was like on a
Mhm.
couch or in a chair. Grandma woke up and was like, called her husband, was like, did you take the baby with you? And he was like, no, I left the
Is
baby
that the
there
one
with
who went
you.
down into the couch stuffings? Okay, I've
Well, no,
heard
no,
that.
no, no.
Okay.
This
No.
kid walked out the door. They didn't know he was tall enough to reach the door.
Oh my
Um,
God.
he opened the door and walked out back and fell into a pond and drowned. And it was declared to be an accident.
Oh, oh my God.
Absolutely terrible. The daughter was,
Mhm.
of course, devastated. Her baby had died. And then, but she was pregnant at the time. And everybody told her this was a terrible, terrible accident. It's something that never happens. You have to forgive your mother. You have to stay focused on your health for your current baby. She has the second baby. She's worked through it. She's going to forgive her mother. She keeps an eye on this kid. She never takes her eyes off this baby who was like, she called her rainbow baby.
Mhm.
And one day she was like, oh, I have a hair appointment. Mom, can you watch my baby for an hour? The mother said, of course, picks up the baby. She said, well, I'm going to go to lunch with the ladies from the church. Is it okay if I take your daughter to lunch with me? And the mother says, great. I know those ladies you're going with. It's going to be fine. They go to lunch and the mom is like, great. I can relax, get my hair done. Life is good. The grandma goes home, forgets the baby is in the car in Florida, in the back seat, goes in the house, she plays the piano, she watches the dog. 4 or 5 hours go by, and somebody else comes to the house, and she's like, oh God, I forgot about the grandbaby. So
Because of
she
course the
runs out to
baby
the
took a
car.
nap. The baby probably fell asleep.
Yep.
You know
Yep.
what? Can I tell you guys this? I didn't have my daughter till I was 40. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And at a certain time, there was a lot of these left baby in the car stories, right? And I
Yeah.
was really scared because I didn't understand how that happens, but I do understand going into autopilot because I feel like I autopilot a lot when I get into my car because
Yeah.
I'm very routine with a lot of the things I do. As a new mother at 40 who did not want to have that happen to me, I always put my purse in the back of the car. As someone who carries
Yeah.
a purse, I always have my purse in the back seat because I
Yep.
knew that I had to get my purse and I would have to get the baby.
Right.
So I
Right.
always put my purse in the back seat. I always put pretty much everything, my lunch, whatever, to go to work because if I was getting my purse, my lunch, my whatever, God
Mm-hmm.
forbid, I go into autopilot and drive to work and like, oh shit, I forgot to stop at the daycare type thing. I would not forget because I'm not going to get out of my car and not take my bag of essentials and all of those things. So I was
Yeah.
very mindful about not wanting an accident like that to ever happen to me as a mother. Like that's a nightmare. I just cannot
Absolutely.
believe after losing one grandchild, then you're out and about and you just bring your ass in the house and forget that you just got a chance to have another grandchild with you again.
Second grandchild in less than a
Wow.
year. The 2 deaths
Wow.
of the children happened less than a
Wow.
year apart, which is, hey, David, I
That's
see you. Hey, girl, hey.
that's crazy.
The
That's
thing that
crazy.
really, it's a terrible, terrible situation. And it's like, if she had dementia, if there was medicine, if there was something she was taking, or even if she took any responsibility at all, because her take was, this is not my fault. My daughter's going to be upset. I can't believe this is happening to me.
I
I
mean, it's
can't
not like
face
it's
my
a Gucci
daughter.
bag. It's a child. You killed
Ma'am,
2 kids, ma'am.
2 of your grandchildren. And obviously the family is now all broken apart about it because some of the family members are saying, well, it was an accident. And other of the family members are saying, like, this is unforgivable. Folks are not speaking to each other. The daughter had an older child. She lost 2 children. And then she had another baby. Her other baby, her 4th child, is like 5 or 6 months old now. And I'm just like, it's an
Yeah, she wouldn't
unimaginable
have any
situation.
opportunity. Not, you know what I mean? Like, even
Mm-mm.
if I forgave, you would not, I'm not going to allow you. I mean, it's
Right.
really up to her at this point, the parents, to have to say, you know what? No
Yeah.
babysitters. No, look, I mean, look, not to say, look, my husband and I have been boots on the ground since we brought Farrah home. We've had limited
Yeah.
babysitting. We've left her with a very small number of people.
Mhm.
I could probably say on less than 20 occasions has she ever even slept outside of this house, and she's almost 14. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, just very much we've taken care of our own child. We take her on vacation. We take her everywhere. She goes with us everywhere. Okay.
Mhm.
Everywhere, everything. I don't know. I can't,
It's
I
unimaginable to
don't
me, but
put my
also,
kids' health and well-being in anyone's hands other than the school system,
yeah.
on a daily basis. And even then I chaperone, you know what I mean? I do things to stay involved. I didn't even ask my kid to, but recently she signed me up for something. She's like, Mom, what's your email address? I'm putting you down to chaperone for blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, what? How do you know I want to chaperone? Like, I mean, I've chaperoned and you know what I mean? Like, I'm involved, but
Right.
I don't know. It's just, that's
I mean, listen,
sad. The
when I
grandmother,
had it's unbelievably sad. And I
yeah,
just dropped a
it's very
couple
sad.
memberships, you guys. When I had my first baby, I was a 26, 27-year-old a single mother. And I was just like, I got to do what I got to do, and I sort of upgraded my whole life. I got a better job. I got a better apartment. I did all the things. And I made it my business. And I didn't have the ability to deeply, deeply scrutinize everybody who was the babysitters who were going to watch my child. Now, did I go and I visited the daycare? I read, did a whole background check on them. But then ultimately, I had to go to work, and so I
Right.
went to work, and I had a relative keep my child and said one thing a little bit sideways, and I was like, nope. That from the child that relative watched is now, how old is Jay? He's 26. That relative has never been alone with my child from that day to this, on the strength of something crazy they said. I was like, oh, nope. I don't know if you thought this was a joke. I don't know if you thought it was funny, but they said something just like it was supposed to be hilarious about injuring my child. Absolutely not. Michelle,
No, no.
I'm just playing. Oh my God, you take everything too far. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. You
Yeah.
are done seeing you can't watch my child on FaceTime. You can't watch my child at all. And with the other
That's
ones, I was lucky enough we had in-home childcare. We either had nannies or, like we had people that would come to the house
mhm.
and keep the kids. And I would hire a mommy's helper, like a 20-something girl who was here while I was here, and I would work from home or I'd be out selling real estate or whatever. But most of the time I was here, she was here, so I could see the interaction. And then when I felt comfortable enough, we would be gone all day, but they came to the house. Nobody was putting my kid in the car. If you weren't keeping eyes on that baby at all times, you could not be here. And they met my husband, and people get scared when they meet him, rightfully so.
Okay.
I'm
So
like,
they
he
acquitted the forgetful grandma. They acquitted her,
So
or
she
she
was
got
charged
time.
with aggravated whatever. There was like an aggravated something and an unintentional something. I forget what the exact charges
Wow.
were. She was acquitted on the top charge, but on the lesser charge, she will definitely serve jail time, several years.
Mm.
It's not
I
like
mean,
it's terrible. It's terrible either way.
look, when she accepted the assignment, if you had been relieved of your grandma duties because of the first situation, then you
Mhm.
accepted the assignment of babysitting again.
Yeah,
And it is negligent. It is, you know what I mean? Maybe it wasn't intentional, but sometimes you are going to, everything is not a oopsie daisy and doesn't come with some sort of, you
right.
know, some repercussions. Now, also, if this woman, the mother, decides to allow this woman I mean, would probation or parole also include no dealings with any minors? Like, this is someone who by law really should not be left with children. She's not responsible anymore. Just
At
because you
all.
raised a couple of kids to maturity or
And was a
age of
school principal
majority.
for 20 years or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah,
maybe. Well, there was a school principal. I remember she was on Oprah. I don't remember her name,
yep,
but if you guys remember that school principal who went and got
I
Dunkin'
remember.
Donuts and was rushing to bring the donuts in, she was late for a meeting. She totally forgot to bring her kid to daycare, and hot car death right out in front of the school. So I mean, hot car deaths happen. Um, I knew I never wanted to be involved in anything
Yeah.
like that. So I was very conscious and aware of that to never make that me. Um,
Hmm.
but back to accidents and mishaps and things like that, back to Collin, I don't think he's going to get a third chance to make that mistake again. If it happens again, I think it's going to be he's going to prison for a long, long time, I think. 'Cause I feel like there have been people that we've seen get away with murder a few times.
Yeah.
Who's that guy? Do you guys know the guy in Chicago who his wife died under drowning? He was a police detective.
Yes.
The guy
Yes.
who looked like he was a
Peterson. His
Bears
last name
fan.
was Peterson.
Yes.
Mhm. Michael
So we're
Peterson.
not Scott Peterson, but the other Peterson guy. He was kind of gross.
Michael Peterson.
And
Yeah. He had a
yeah,
couple of wives. He had one wife that drowned,
Di-
a couple wives that went missing, and he always got very, very, very young wives. Yeah, I know that guy. He was like the police chief or some
where
nonsense.
is he now?
Prison forever.
Okay, he finally did. Okay, he finally
he ultimately
okay.
got convicted. He ultimately got convicted.
It got
Drew
Drew
Peterson.
Peterson. There we go.
Yes. Thank you, chat. Chat knows all. Yeah, he was a whole hot mess. But look, I need to start wrapping up in a few minutes,
Okay.
friend. What are you working on next? What's next for you?
I mean, I've got a couple of things. I mean, obviously Nesto's always around. We're talking a lot of Jarvis Butts right now. The Naziah Harris case. We're keeping our eyes out on, a few different things. So, the Brandy Pearson. So she's a woman who ran off to Georgia, and little did the people of Detroit know, but she had buried her 9-year-old in the back of a rental property that she had been leasing, and ran off to Georgia, and wasn't even in Georgia 3 months. She'd already racked up a cruelty to children charge. She was arrested in Marietta, Georgia, while door dashing in a rental car she didn't quite bring back on time. So they basically put it as a stolen vehicle, and she had cocaine with her. God. So, I mean, ma'am's being extradited back to Michigan. So we just started talking about that. I did do a video yesterday, but I'm working on getting some additional information to expand on that story a little bit more. But it's a lot to keep. There's a million stories going on out here. There's literally a million. And of course, and let me say one more thing. I was captivated last night by, was it Ohanja Robinson, the lady who went to Pakistan, who's supposed to get married to the guy who's 19, and she ended up.
I don't know this.
Kathy, if you go down that rabbit hole, there's a lady. So like 3 months, let's say a couple of months ago, because I don't have an exact timeline. I started really getting into it last night, which was hilarious. The funny thing to me is that it's the Pakistani news coverage, not the TikToks and all of that. It's just the Pakistani news coverage that's like, American woman here who was promised to marry so-and-so and da-da-da-da-da. And they're basically telling the story, but they're tracking her around. And I guess they feel like they did notice that there was either some mental illness or disturbance or whatever. But she was really having her way. She kind of charmed the Pakistani people a little bit, and they've been treating her well. It was like a case of 90 Day Fiance, and the lady is a little mental, but it's absolutely hilarious how she kind of endeared the Pakistani government, or the Pakistani people, let's just say. And they have been taking care of her since she was there, but allegedly she just got on a plane to where I don't know, but she is funny as all get out. You've probably seen her in your timeline, but if you didn't click on it, you wouldn't know what the story's about, but she is literally trending, and her name is it's Onijah Robinson. Yeah.
What do we know about Ohani Robinson, who flew to Pakistan and was ghosted by teen? Oh, okay. So look, let me write this down, because this might be what I cover on Monday.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Onijah.
Try to find the Pakistani coverage, because some of the, I don't want to say just because like the American coverage is a little skewed, because you don't really I haven't seen all of it. So let me, in all fairness, but I just enjoyed watching the Pakistani news coverage. Since I am a news junkie, it was funny watching that, because some of the TikTok, TikTok, no offense to TikTokers out here, you can't always trust what's on TikTok, and all the, stuff is just not always vetted. So yes, ma'am.
It said love is stupid. That's
Girl,
hilarious. Wait, I can't get it back to the opening screen. Oh,
girl.
their thumbnail says "Love is stupid." A mess. Okay, yeah, she about to
Oh
be
my
my new
God.
obsession.
It's
Oh
very, very
wow.
funny. But
Oh wow.
it's an
Yeah.
interesting story. It was interesting to see that they did kind of, they treated her with kid gloves. They didn't just throw her back on a plane and say, get the hell out of here. Um, oh, I saw
Wow.
that. Nosy 146. I literally screenshot that today. The news reporter that disappeared. Um, and there's a woman who has been arrested who has a track record of drugging and robbing. So
What?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. I saw like
There's a
it
lot
flashed up
going
on my
on.
screen earlier. There's a ton. It's so weird how at the end of 2024 things really dried up. And I remember a lot of other people in LawTube were saying it's gonna be crazy in 2025. And I'm like, it's like being shot out of a cannon. There's just so
I
much like boom, 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 boom.
last week I opened up an Excel spreadsheet, and my Excel spreadsheet is it's trash, but I'm tracking. You know what I mean? Like, I was trying to make it all nice and
Mm-hmm.
neat, and this jurisdiction, and basically at this point I'm putting names, states, counties, and like websites, and
Okay.
just free space, because I was trying
Ooh,
to really
I need a
track hard,
spreadsheet.
but I
Uh-huh.
need, yeah, because it's too much. It's too
Oh my
much.
gosh. I
It's too
just
much
ordered
going
myself a
on.
Remarkable. So I'm like, I'm about to
I
join the
heard you talk
Remarkable
about
cult.
that the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I
isn't
got it
that
because
just like
Emily
using
V.
your, go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's using a pad and paper. But the thing
No, but
is, I
like
have,
your
well, the
iPad with
problem
your crayon, with your pen.
yeah, I have that. The problem that I run into is number one, I get very distracted on my iPad because there's so much other stuff going on. But also, every time I go to use my iPad, the battery is dead. Because it
Okay.
does so many other things and it's running other things in the background.
Right,
It's like,
right.
oh, I'm writing, I'm doing good. Damn it, the battery is dead. The pen is always good, but 90% of the time when I go pick it up, the battery is dead. So I was like, you know what? I'm getting rid of everything in my life that no longer works for me. In fact, my husband brought in the mail, and ooh, I almost showed you my address. I got this box that was sent to me to mail back my I sold my iPad online. I sold it to
Mm-hmm.
Gazelle, I think it was. I got like
Mm-hmm.
$200 for my old iPad. And I'm selling my Kindle because I don't read books on paper. I listen to audiobooks like crazy, tons and tons and tons of them. If I'm traveling, I'll look at a magazine on my Kindle, but I got a Kindle Paperwhite and I literally never, ever, ever use it. I've had it for a year. I've not read one book on it. I've looked at maybe 5 magazines, but I'm like, you know what? I could get those magazines. And I don't like the formatting on a Kindle. So I sold my Paperwhite and I sold my iPad. And that money was enough because I was like, I cannot keep buying all these electronics just to sit on a shelf someplace. So my Paperwhite is, I mean, my Remarkable is due on Monday. And if I don't like
Yeah,
it,
so you
then I'll
got
get
rid of
rid of that and
two.
keep looking.
Got rid of two. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of technology that we have. I mean, let's face it, the acceleration in technology allowed us to consolidate many different
Yes.
things into one thing. But if the one thing overstimulates or doesn't, if you just need an electronic tablet to write things,
Yeah.
you know what I
But
mean?
they were
If the iPad is too much for you to, yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it. Because I do
yeah.
like doing planning, per
Mhm.
se, but there's something about paper, even though I invested in an electronic app in my iPad, I just
Mhm.
don't, I see people using it. It looks really cute. Like they're like, oh, let me do my planner. I don't know. I like a paper planner versus,
Yeah.
so I found that there, no matter what app I download, even if I pay like $100 for a productivity app, I'm wasting my money. So I've had to just tell
Yeah.
myself, don't even bother because you're wasting your money. You have
Yep.
a calendar in there. All you basically have a planner in there anyway.
Mhm.
Anything else you buy is just going to be a waste. You like a good $10 paper, flip the pages. You want to use your actual, you know what I mean? So I had to kind of get real with myself on not
Yeah.
wasting money and also just getting
Yeah.
real with what I actually like and what I use. So
It's a weird
I
thing
feel you on
because
that.
for the longest time, I couldn't afford to buy anything, right? And I was
Mhm.
like, okay, let me just get this little piece of a little spiral notebook and I will
Right,
write on
right.
that. And then now that I'm a little bit older, my life is a little bit more settled and I can afford to buy an electronic or two. I look around and at one point I was like, just sort of purging out drawers and stuff. I must have found 6 old iPhones and no joke, 6 to 7 tablets. Like, oh, get this tab. They were all old tablets, but it was like, get this tablet when you sign up for a free line. And one of my kids needed to upgrade a tablet. Oh, this
Mhm.
tablet, I want something that's just dedicated for reading. And I ended up with all these
Right.
things. And so I traded them in, sold them, gave them away, whatever. And so now I'm trying to do like more of a minimal thing. My house is filled
Right.
with shit. Shit that I have used, shit that I don't need.
Or just,
But
yeah, stuff that you're gonna use. Because
yeah.
back to what I was saying before about the purses and just the kind of you can end up with a lot of stuff you're not using. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, if I buy like I want to use what I buy.
For
I
sure.
want to use what I
For
buy because that's
sure.
to me, that's the flex of having something nice that you enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's $10 or however many thousands of dollars. The flex is being able to use it and enjoy
Right.
it. To me,
And
I
make you
don't
more
get
efficient.
enjoyment out of just sitting a purse on a shelf
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
admiring it like, oh, I can go to the store and go visit it and I can go see every new model of it at the store. If I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to buy and spend my coin, my bonus or whatever,
Right.
I want to use it and enjoy it. And so to me, having a lot of stuff that I can't use, and it's also troublesome to have to
Yep.
store it and have to
Eh,
create strategies to keep it and keep my rooms clean and things like that. That makes it
yeah.
less of an enjoyable
It
experience
just
for
becomes
me.
clutter. It
Yeah, I
just
don't like
becomes
it.
clutter. And listen, Mocha Wine says, I have a Surface, iPad, Kindle, but I love a notepad and pen. Yeah, I love a notepad and pen. One of the things
Mhm.
that we discovered, particularly in my office during the pandemic, is all of us were using like pen and paper, right? To grab a notebook because they have, in the supply closet or you got all these notebooks. And then we all went home, what we thought was going to be for like a long weekend. And it turned into 2 years. And it was like, oh, what was the note that I made about this thing and that thing? And one of my colleagues had been using her iPad. And so all of us in the company sort of championed switching to electronic note taking, which a lot of us have done, some people have not. And I like it because even if I left my notepad or whatever at the office, I still have my notes on my phone or I
Right.
had them in the app. With this true crime thing in my iPad, I loved it because I'd have one notebook that was true crime, one notebook that was the college search process for my son, another notebook that was work stuff, another one that was school stuff when I was taking classes. I loved that. But these notepads, I go through like crazy. And then I can't, like, I like it because I'm like, I can flip back and find what's that old password I wrote down? Or what was that,
Right.
that
Absolutely.
information. I love that. So I'm hoping that the Remarkable gives me everything that I need in the pad of paper, but I can pull up that information anywhere. And if it
So,
doesn't, I'm gonna let it go. That's what
does
Facebook
Remarkable
Marketplace is
have an
for.
app with it?
It
So is
does.
it so you can access it from your phone. So you can
Yes.
incorporate everything from it. And then it has storage components so you can create
Yes.
different. Okay.
It's they say that the
Interesting.
competition for the Remarkable is not the iPad. The competition is pen and paper because the battery life lasts for 2 weeks. They also have cloud storage. I don't know if I'll use the cloud storage or not. But I'd like to be able to sit and just like you can write a journal or you can make a grocery list. Although I do my grocery list on Ziggy over here, but I like the to sit quietly and just make my notes about whatever. And because I go through so many notepads, I'm done with this one. I throw it away. And then 3 weeks later, I'm like, where did I write that? Oh, I wrote that on the notepad that I threw away because it was full.
Okay.
So I have
Anyway,
There's a garbage can over here that's always filled with old notepads that I've finished up. So when this pad is finished, I'm off to remarkable land. I'll
Okay,
report back.
good.
I'll let you know. Friend, tell everybody where they can find you again. We want to make sure
You can
everybody
find
tunes in.
me. You can find me on Real Talk Bougie, and you can find me on Love Lies and Lace Fronts, where we do reactions, reviews, and commentary on the YouTube channels you love to watch.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And also on Facebook. And are you on Instagram, Blue Sky, anything else?
I'm not on Blue Sky, but I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, all of the things. Google me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, Google her. And of course,
Mhm.
if you have not already, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. I'm available on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and X. I deleted X this morning because it was getting on my nerves. But I am gossip, rumor, and innuendo on all the things. I'm trying to build my social media presence. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, thank you to all of my
True crime friends, and thank you for all the Bougie gang that came through. I appreciate you guys.
Listen, Bougie gang stays rolling deep. We will see you all in the next one. Hang on.